That right there is why I feel like I have to let the birds out every day. That's not enough room to run. Now, obviously, at some point, they'll all be divided into 3 different pastures about that same size. But they want to run, they want to play, they want to stretch their legs. And they do this several times throughout the day. They want to dance. And that right there, for all the folks who wonder why I keep letting them out and why I don't always, put them up at night, that is why, because that's what they want to do. That's what they love to do for exercise, for enjoyment, for whatever reasons. I know that when it comes time to mating, that's one of their mating things they do. Carl has to chase the ladies around for a little bit and kind of warm them up. That sounded kind of bad. And it's over. So, well, no, they're still going to dance for a while. So maybe the running is over? No. Okay, so what am I talking about? Nothing's over. Nothing's over, still going. But they like to get out and they like to run. They want to stretch their legs. And I already told you guys that eventually, whenever the males get old enough to where Carl starts seeing them as a threat, at that point I will have to utilize all 3 of my adjacent pastures to divide them all up so they can't be fighting. I do not want fighting going on over here. Now, will I be able to let them out individually to run and stretch? Sure. And maybe if it's just 2 per pasture, they'll be fine running around. That will be plenty of room to run around. But you saw what I saw just now, birds going everywhere, and with 7 birds in the same small pasture, that's not enough room. It's not. And so you might say, well, Les, you should have thought about that before you started building all these fences. No. What I thought about was the size that I needed. What I read and researched was the size that I needed for an enclosure for an ostrich, an adult ostrich. And so I built those to specifications. But what I'm trying to do, friends, is give them their better life, their best life. So even though that right there is fine for the specs of what they require as far as spacing, that's not enough for what they do. Oh my God, look at this monster coming up. Wowee, that's the Generac man? That's the Generac man, look what he's driving. Sheesh, look at that beaut. Good morning, folks, Lester here. And we're getting to Longhorn Lester's pretty early this morning. We have a big job we have to get taken care of. Did that make any sense? We have a big job we have to get taken care of. Oh my Lord. Yes, I'll get up to the shop and I'll show you what's going on. There's all my longhorns out doing their morning grazing. It's a nice, comfy 75 degrees this morning, so it's not hot. I'm wondering how the goats did overnight. Only half the goats are here now. We left 8 here and took 8 home to I'm a Survivor. I see Beverly out in the distance doing some grazing. You know who I don't see is Little Miss Dixie. Little Miss Dixie, and who knows, I'm sure she's around here somewhere. We're gonna roll up and find her. Look there on the column. We have Gunsmoke sitting there scratching. That's real classy, Gunsmoke. Couldn't you at least look tough? Oh, now he's gonna jump down. Oh Lord. Oh my goodness, look who's running out there from the woods. What is she doing? That's Millie, and there comes Fiona from behind the hay. What are these girls up to? So I have spotted Dixie. She's there inside one of the stalls of the barn. I'm not sure why she's in the stall, but that's where she's hanging out right now, so that's fine. I'll go over and check on them later. Come on, kitty, I'll feed you if you want to eat. So I have a friend coming over today. It's a neighbor, a guy who lives down the road. Was that just not typical cat and dog behavior right there? So Kitty knows I feed her on the boat. Look at this, y'all. Kitty knows, white Kitty knows I feed her on the boat. And so I always keep her food over here. So I invited the neighbor over today to help me, well, I'm gonna pay him to burn all of my piles. He hurt his leg. He fell and he hurt his leg, and he's unable to walk real good, but he said he can drive his tractor. Hey, beautiful, you so hungry? Okay, well, good morning. Here you go. Looky here. This is where she eats. Oh, she loves when Daddy pops open a can of food. God, I need 2 hands for this. So our neighbor Kenny contacted me, and he said that he'd been out of work. He was not able to work because he injured one of his legs. And he said, do I have any tractor work? He said he can drive tractor all day. He just can't walk. Poor fella. And I thought about it for a minute, and I'm like, I don't really need any tractor work. But I'm like, Kenny, I do have some piles, some limbs that I've piled up here out in the pasture over, when we had the guys come cut the trees. Let me show you. I'll turn my camera around here. Hold on. I said, I do have some piles of limbs that I've been waiting to burn. I haven't got around to them yet. I says, you're more than welcome to come over this morning. I have to be here anyway. I'm gonna mow the grass, and there's gonna be a guy come work on the generator, service it. I said, I'll be happy to pay you to burn these piles. I says, you pile them all up, I'll light a match to them, and you can sit there and drive your tractor around and kind of keep them all piled up until they all burn out. And he sure appreciated the idea of getting some work. And think about that for a minute, friends. It's hard. Think about if you have the kind of job that you can't work if you somehow get yourself injured. And that's what he did. He stepped out and he was doing some stuff in his garden, and he stepped in a mole hole. You know how these moles can sit there and dig holes in your yard. He stepped in a mole hole, and he said he sunk right down to, I don't know if he did something to his ankle. I don't know exactly what he did, but he's in a boot. He says he's in a walking boot, walking cast, I guess. So I'm going to have him come over today and pay a blessing forward and have him do a little tractor work for me with burning those piles. And I hope that can help him and his family. He's got a wife and kids. And he even said his wife will help him, which I think that's just adorable. And I admire that a lot. I know I got the shakes, y'all. Got to bear with me. I have an anxiety pill I can take as needed. And I try not to take it. But I'll tell you what, I start getting the shakes every once in a while. And I hear a boat down in the river. There's a boat down in the river. The river's up a little bit right now because of all the rain we've gotten up north. All right, well, listen, I'm not going to bore you with sitting here talking about, okay, well, I didn't come out to feed. This is not feed time. It's very early. They're wondering what the heck I'm doing here this early. I normally do my chores over at I'm a Survivor before I come over here. And this morning, I just kind of flipped things all around. But Jake is there, Bennett's there, and Jamie's there. And I believe that they can handle it just fine. Hold your ears. Can we one-hand this? Boy. Guys, we're good. We're good. There's no way anyone can come out and do it at the farm without having a chance to feed the babies. And our Generac man, what's your name again? Kyle. Kyle, like, oh my God, ostriches. And so I'm like, hey, I got something for you to do. And so isn't it funny though how the females push the male out of the way? You would think in most species the males will kind of make their way up, but nope, these females run the show, man. These females.
He knows his place.
Yeah, he knows he's smart. He's a smart man, ain't he?
I'll be darned.
Right? I'm going to take these and toss them over so he can have something to eat. So you guys see what's going on here behind us. We got Kenny and his wife have come over, and they've been doing some burning. Kenny, I talked about you and your foot, how you stepped in a molehill. Now, what happened actually? What's going on with it?
Well, I woke up last Wednesday morning.
Yeah?
go check my garden.
Yeah.
Well, usually everything's fine out there. And
Until you step in a molehill.
yeah, stepped in that molehill and down I went.
How deep was that sucker?
It was probably every bit about 1.5 to 2 foot.
Wow, and you went right down.
Oh, yeah.
And so you fractured it in 2 places.
My big toe and my ankle.
So they had you in a boot for a while, and now you're able just to kind of like...
Well, I'm still supposed to have the boot on, but you know.
Oh, no. You're cheating. So his wife, I forgot, what was your name?
Christina.
Christina says she wished he would have broke it.
Yes.
Now, wait a minute. You wished he would have broke his foot instead of fracturing. Why?
Healing process.
Yeah, the healing process. It would have been easier to heal
Yeah.
had it been broke instead of being fractured.
Wouldn't have to do the surgeon. Wouldn't have to do any of that. They could have just set
Yep.
it, casted him, 6 weeks, done.
And been done. And I told him to stay on that tractor, but he keeps getting off and trying to push things into a pile. He's hard-headed, y'all. He's hard-headed like a lot of folks we know. Thank y'all for being in my video.
You're welcome.
So we're sitting here talking about Native Americans. We're talking about Native Americans, and so Kenny tells me this story. He says that a couple of years ago, was it last year you said?
Last year.
He's back over here hunting, and he hunts at night. It's late night hunting, and he heard someone talking, but he knows that for miles around, he's the only one back there, and he could not see anybody. He said he turned around, a grown man. How old are you, Kenny?
37.
37-year-old man turns around and runs home. His wife goes, "What'd you get something?" He goes, "No, there's someone in them woods." And so we all believe, and he says it wasn't something that he could see, but he could hear. Was it making a sound like talking?
It was a talking, like a mumble.
It was a mumble.
Mumble.
That's terrifying. And then I said I was flying my drone, making some videos around over here. And when I flew my drone across the pasture over here, all of a sudden, it became unresponsive. It began to make circles, and it would not respond to my control. I had to land it before I lost it. We're all sitting here with goosebumps, aren't we?
Yeah.
I know I got them all down my legs and arms. Scary. Have y'all heard of that website called OnlyFans, where people will pay you to look at your feet? I don't know why I was thinking about that right now. I have no interest in looking at anyone's feet. I would never pay to look at someone's feet, never. But I was thinking to myself that only real fans, only true fans of this page would know what I'm doing right now and why I'm doing it. Only those who have really watched the videos would know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. No, it's a lot more than putting fuel in your lawnmower. There's a whole lot more to it than just that. It's a life lesson that I've just done. But only real fans, real friends and family of the page would know that. I want y'all go to OnlyFans. Do not go to OnlyFans, because Lester did not send you to OnlyFans. I would never send you all to a page like that. All right, let's watch Kenny do some work. So it's a blessing, y'all. It's a blessing we're paying forward here. That's what I told Kenny. It's also the same thing I told the fellow who come to the Generac, the generator servicing. It's a blessing that we're able to pay forward, because I could have changed that oil myself, y'all. I could have changed that oil myself. I could have gotten my tractor and pushed these limbs into a pile myself as well. But Kenny's not able to work, can't really walk, but he can use that tractor. And I will be more than happy to pay that blessing forward. Y'all know I have nothing against working. But I've been meaning to burn them limbs for a while. And now look, he's piled them all up, and they all burning off there, and Tex and his family are completely content to get that stuff out of the pasture, all them limbs. And we've paid a blessing forward. I was able to talk to the Generac fella and share my testimony. He's like, "This is a beautiful piece of property, man." And I was like, "Hey, would you believe?" And of course, you know, I like to talk. So I got to share my testimony. And there was 2 grown men there, him and myself. And we're both sitting there wiping sweat from our eyes. That's what we were doing. That's what we were doing. 2 big old men like us. He was a brute, y'all. That guy had some guns. And he and I are sitting there wiping sweat from our eyes. I'm almost embarrassed to tell y'all that, but not that embarrassed, obviously. Even the goat pasture looks so empty now. Look, here's our 8 babies. Here's our 8 little wacky packers. Hey, wacky pack. How you guys doing? I don't think they really miss the other goats at all. So no one can come over and not feed the babies. Now, Kenny's fed them before. Kenny and I have hung out with the ostriches a few times, but his wife's first time. Yeah. Oh, they don't share. No, Wanda. We have that. Oh, he's sweet. Carl, look, he could have had 2. Carl, you dropping them, buddy.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask, is this your first time ever being this close to an ostrich?
Yes.
Have you ever seen one before?
Yes.
Okay, you have?
Yes.
But never been this close, huh?
Not to feed them.
Not to feed them. So they have these drive-through safaris. Look at that. You're trying to get them off. Poor Kenny. There's something else. That one right there, you know, I call her my pecker because she will peck you the eyes out of you if she wants something bad enough.
Oh yeah, she did.
She got you. She got you.
She wanted another great.
Now, hey, those are babies. Can you believe that? They are 4 months old. They were born Mother's Day. Yeah, they're not quite as trusting yet. You may have to actually throw those over the fence for them. They'll eat them off the ground. Well, I got all the grass mowed pretty. The babies have had multiple rounds of treats this morning. And it's funny, whenever you have guests come by and they want to love on the ostrich babies, you got to offer tomatoes and grapes as an offering. And so they've been, they should be stuffed. I did drop out some feed, but there's only one ostrich who's actually eating. That's this side of the property looking good. This side is looking good. Let's walk to the other side. Hello.
I'm a stranger. I've came to rob everything.
The goats are off down the lane, grazing on some good clean grass. Of course, they have all them woods behind them. They can forage in there as well. Kenny and his wife came by and got all of our fires, pretty much all of our fires built, and they're extinguished by now. It's just kind of smoldering over there. The cows have gone by to lay in the smoke, kind of help with the flies a little bit, and that's awesome. And of course, the guy came out and did the servicing on the Generac. Guys, it's been a good day. It's been a real good day. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. Like I said, it's always fun. All right, I won't say it. I'm just gonna say it. It's always funner doing things with friends. And yes, I was a teacher for 25 years and I taught language arts, so I know the proper way is it's always more fun to do things with friends. But hey, I am no longer teaching, so I can go back to the old Lester way of saying things. It's always funner doing things with friends. Y'all ready to dance? Come on, let's go.
Don't let your troubles fester. Come watch Longhorn Lester.
Yeah, something like that.